Visit the Dyson doctor, Nick Gray, Norfolk's premier Dyson specialist.
What I want to do today is show you some older Dyson gems, anything made before 2017 in the vacuum world. I'm going to talk about Dyson because you genuinely can't beat a Dyson. On September the 1st, 2017, the EU in their wisdom said nobody can manufacture or sell from the 1st of September 2017. I knew this was coming. I told people that I knew, I told friends, you're not going to be able to buy these machines after a certain date. There are people selling them off right now for very little money. Get them. A bit like when I told everybody to buy domain names when they were available. I got my name.com. Bit like when I told everybody to get into electronic cigarettes in 2002. But you know what I'm getting at. Sometimes in life you get these little gems of information that you share with your friends, just with your friends. So the vacuum cleaners, actually what has brought me down the road of this video is that machine there, a DC03 there, needs a motor. DC03, one of the great ones. Here's the motor I'm going to put in, and I'm going to give you some words of advice on motors when I get round to it. So we'll go through the history of these machines. By the way, these two here are Dyson models, named after I think it's a Danish art movement. This is the first one they did, a DC01. You won't find them in these colours. This is what I mean by Dyson. They're usually grey and yellow, or actually I've only seen these in grey and yellow. It's the later ones that come in white and blue. So that's the DC01 there. Lovely machine, pristine. These aren't for sale, by the way. This is a DC02. It'll say 02 somewhere. It does. Oh yeah, it does on the back there. There, it is an 02 cylinder type. One that you will not see is, and by the way, we won't touch shark. Up there is a DC03. That was a 600 watt, kind of like a test machine. They were testing at the market, but there aren't many of those around. They weren't very popular. This one is a DC, hang on, let me turn that light off. It's because of the shutter speed of the camera. You'll see that, and you'll also see it over there as well, underneath the radio. But I'll leave that one on. This one is a DC14. This is in pristine condition. Apart from this, everything else, apart from the old scratch, this is the best one I've ever seen. This is for sale. The other two I'm going to show you over there are for sale, but there are no price tags on these because I'm careful who I sell things like this to. If somebody comes in and they've refused to have their machine serviced or looked after, and they've just run a Dyson until it's the end of its life, and then they bring it in and expect me to fix it. Well, I can fix things bit by bit, but as I always tell everybody, stop spending money on it because one thing is going to fail after another. There's a DC14. It's got a new motor. I've reconditioned the clutch. Not many people can do that. I tell you, how people ruin these, or they get ruined, someone will take these to the wrong place, not to me. Somebody may have been watching my videos and tried to mimic and copy what I do, but they've washed this entire component here with the clutch still in. Water's got in the clutch, and that's it. That's the end of it. So part of the reason that I don't necessarily show people how I do things, apart from not wanting anybody else to know, if you know what's happened to me in the past, you'll understand the reason I don't do that. But mainly it's because I don't want people to feel that they can attempt to do something themselves, because these are all held together with plastic. And it's easy to break things. If you get in and out in a certain order, you can break things. And the whole point of my business is to stop things going to landfill. If you really must do it yourself, I'll give you some tips on motors, and there's a little aside I want to do as well. But carrying on, over here we have that yellow and grey one is a DC04, another one of the great ones. Then next to it is a DC07, again with a new motor, all service clutch. This one actually is all made of different colours because it's made for it's been made for a student let, and the customer had a problem with people stealing machines. He wanted a really good machine, and that DC07 is a really good machine. As I say, anything before 2017 are really good machines, although they're heavy. They've got 1200 watt motors in, but they're heavy and they're built to last. So what I'm going to do is, this is a priority customer. Yes, I have priority customers. If you're a customer, you'll know how you become a priority customer. So I'm going to start the day on this one. I'm going to change the motor and service that DC03. But first, I will not work on a dirty machine. So that needs to be taken completely apart and cleaned. And then we'll come back and we shall resume. We shall resume today's video, or today's lesson, however you want to put it. So you're going to learn something. If you've got a DC01, 02, 33, 4, 7 or 14, keep hold of them. They're brilliant machines and you can't buy them. They're literally not allowed to sell them that good these days. They're not allowed to sell them that good. You know, in 2017 when the EU said what they said, and the ball ones came about, these ones here, these ball ones, so that the ball type, these have got 900 watt motors in, and the ball design is the kind of, the other thing is that they weren't allowed to put anything bigger than 900 watt motors in, but it was about sound as well. You could not have anything exceeding 80 decibels. 80 decibels is very low, really low. So, you know, when you get to the ball versions, the heads articulate so much and there's just a lot to go wrong. And if a motor goes in one of those, it's just too expensive to fix them. I can supply and fit a new motor, a new good quality motor, and service pre-2017 machines for under 100 quid. Under 100 quid. So remember, you can't buy machines this good as long as all the plastics aren't broken, and there are little fingers on these particular ones. The way these brush rollers go in, people try and change the brush bar belts and they don't know how to get these out. There's a way to get these out of this enclosure, and if you fold them up the wrong way, you'll break these little fingers off at the front here. It's okay this side because the brush bar belt will hold it in, but if you do the same on this side, that'll just flop about, and that's where a lot of people break things. So I'm going to get ready. I'm going to get this one cleaned, and then I will begin the job.
Visit DysonDoctor.com for helpful hints, tips and advice on all major vacuum brands. For Sebo, Miele, Pneumatic Henry or Dyson service, you need to see Nick, the Dyson Doctor, at Links Repair Shop.
If you're going to do this yourself, okay, you might not have a choice. If these seize up, the belt goes from there to the clutch, or if you've got the ultimate, very, very best Dyson, has got no clutch, the belt goes straight to the motor. But the point is, if these seize up, and they can easily seize up, you're going to get a nasty burning smell because this is stationary and the belt is trying to move around it. So get your axle, poke it in that bearing there. As you can see, this one's actually okay because I serviced this one. There is a sticker on it, I don't know when, but I serviced it a couple of years ago. So just get that black thing there is to protect the bearing, so the ball's inside, but you will, because they do wear over time, make sure you've got some penetrating all around the outside, put that in there, the axle, and spin it. Point is, this does not need another brush bar. It does not need another brush bar. So just sort the bearings and they should spin nice and freely like that. It's dead easy. You don't need to necessarily always put new parts on everything. In fact, I think people that do that and overcharge and cut corners and all this kind of stuff, they bring the business into bad, well, disrepute, which hurts us all. So if you know of a rogue engineer, say so. I know that there will be people watching this video because they really need to do this themselves. And it's not a complicated job. You know, you can get it wrong, do things in the wrong order, and break things. But if you're, watching this video and you want to do it yourself, unfortunately, over the country, proper vacuum engineers are sparse these days. There aren't that many of us around. So if you're out there in the sticks and you've got no choice, you'll have to do this yourself, and I understand that. I mean, for example, Norwich. I've been here, I opened my business in 2005, the Dyson Doctor. I used to do lawnmowers as well. But there aren't many of us around, so really I've cornered Norwich. So that's what I mean, there aren't many of us around. There is, if you don't come to me, there is one chap in Pouringland. I've seen his work and it's good. So if you can't get to me, get to the chap in Pouringland. But apart from that, there aren't many of us around. The way you get these motors out, so take these tabs off. Then the important bit is, and you can't, as part of a service, you can't take these motors apart to check the brushes as you can with a lot of others. And what tends to happen is, I've seen this before as well. Actually, I'll use a proper pry tool. Not many people have pry tools. It's a gasket scraper, but I use it as a pry tool. I've got all sorts. I see from the bits I get in, people try and get these motors out and they prise this seal. They prise this seal. So they'll either badly bend or even break this plastic around the edge. So don't try and prise it out from the front. Once these motors come out, then they're out. There's no taking it out, inspecting it and putting it in again. So what I do is I use this. This is actually a gudgeon pin. If you know what a gudgeon pin is, put it in the comments. Without searching Google first, I was going to show you my selection of hammers because I counted a couple of years ago and I had 22 hammers. I mean, you get hammers for everything. For example, here's one. This one is a pin hammer for upholstery. There are all sorts. I've got all sorts up there. Ball peen, claw, all kinds of hammers. I've done so many things, but what you need is, I like this Stanley hammer. It is, there's a 35 on there, which is going to tell you the weight. So to get this motor out, you must orientate it like that in a nice way. You're going to have to hit towards yourself, but what you want to do is get your gudgeon pin right there, not there. You don't want to break any plastic, and be aware there's a bigger lobe there than there is there, so these will only go in one way. And it is important which way you put. I'll show you as we get in, but to get this out we do this. Ready? See, and that's it, out. And then you pull the motor out like that. Yeah, and this failed badly, the commutator. So take that out, and what I'm going to do now I've got this motor out is I'm going to take everything out and give it a good clean. But what I want to tell you first before I go out there, because it's getting close to my opening time, this whole thing, I can take this outside, this whole thing. I've got a system where the switches don't get wet, but you don't need to know about that. So these motors, this is really important. If you're by yourself and you're doing this job yourself in the country and you're in this situation, you're going to change a motor yourself. Fair enough. With some things in this business, you can offer a good one and an alternative, as I do with Dyson handheld batteries, which I'm going to get round to in a minute. But unfortunately, there are different qualities. If you haven't seen my Miele mistakes video, Go and watch that, because it shows you the fake versions that are on the market and the good ones, and the difference between the two, and the reason I will never touch. I just don't touch low quality motors, because you go to all this extent, this effort to get them in, and the last thing you want to do is a couple of months later down the line do it again. So don't skimp on motors. Motors for these aren't expensive, but as you can see on the screen, these cheap motors are the ones that are being fitted across the country in some places, and you can see the rough edges, you can see the really the cheapness of it. I mean, look at the brushes there, look at the brushes, you can see the cheapness of it. So the ones I install have not got cheap brushes, and I do sign everything. They've not got cheap brushes, these are really good brushes. That commutator you can see there has been machined. The cheap ones, it's kind of like they, anyway, it's different, you don't need to know that. It's got a good suppressor. The suppressor really stops an FM radio being affected by the motor. I'm not going to get into the technicalities of that. And then you've got a thermal fuse in there, so if it gets too hot, it's going to cut out. There are no rough edges here. It's heavy. This is a really good motor, and it does compare very favourably. You just can't buy as such Dyson motors because YDK made them. So what you want to do is get these suppressors and this connection plate facing you. Put that on the same way, and then the next thing is you get this boot off. This one has failed. I mean, you can see. I don't know if you can see. I'm not sure if you can. But that commutator's damaged there. Again, good brushes. Good. Well, this is an original YDK motor. There are cheap ones, so don't touch the cheap ones, because you will be doing this job again in a couple of months. And I just don't touch cheap motors, because it's bad. It's bad for my reputation, and secondly, I don't want people to have to come back. And that's why I always do the job as good as you can possibly do it. I don't cut corners. So they're the same thing. And by the way, that is a left-hand thread nut. So what we need to do is get this boot on here. So get the boot on, la. Quite easy to get the boot on. And what I'm going to show you is, well, you don't need to see this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that out and I'm going to wash it. Another thing, actually, while we're on this subject of alternatives, and I don't ever give alternatives with motors, with my Dyson handheld batteries. Well, as you can see, somebody has the genuine batteries, and I've got boxes of them. I have got boxes of genuine Dyson batteries, but I always give people a choice. Well, you can see there. I don't need to open it. You can see there. You open it. But I always give people a choice. You can either have a genuine Dyson battery, which will, in a V6, which is the one pictured, they'll last 3.5, 4 years. The one you can see pictured there, somebody's kindly published that. Kindly published that for me. You can see that it's got one of my stickers on. Battery commission date, because I'm really proud of my batteries. They're not all peas out of a pod. Occasionally one of those aftermarket ones will fail, but I give a 12-month warranty on my batteries, and ask any of my customers if there's ever a problem. I'm not going to say, oh no, I'm not going to honour the warranty because you've done this, that and the other. I always give them the benefit they don't supply another one. But as you can see with this, it's my sticker. Bear in mind, it's the 3rd of December 2025 now, the date I made this video. You can see that sticker says September the 1st, 2021. Well, that has lasted longer than a genuine Dyson battery in a V6 or SV03. Also, the battery on the left is not the same as the one on the right. The plastics are different. Well, you can see my sticker's not on the right. Anyway, I don't understand why anybody would want to stock a fake version of that aftermarket one, but that's just the way it is. So I'm going to go and wash this one, and then I'm going to show you how to get that motor in the correct way without damaging it. So this has been jet washed and blown off. I'm just going to take the excess off and put it on my drying rack for an hour or so. But I just want to show you, going back to these batteries, I've got lots of these that have come in over the past 4 years, and I knock them apart. Funnily enough, actually, these ones are actually 4 amp. I think the original ones are 2.6, 2.8 that come with those Dyson V6, I think. So that 4 amp hour is great if it is 4 amp hour. So what I do is, whenever I get a new batch of those aftermarket batteries, because most of the time people request those over genuine ones just because of cost, what I do is I have got a discharge machine. So basically what happens is I plonk that in the top of the battery. That needs to be connected with power. I give it a certain load and put a full battery on it, give the battery a certain load from this, and this will calculate over time the actual amp hour of that battery. So I'm very keen on the batteries I sell being of good quality. So thank you for posting that for me. It's really good of you. I'm pleased. So I'm going to go and dry this out, and then I'm going to come back. There's not really much I can do in the meantime. I'll get another job done and come back. Just a couple of things with these machines, and I should really show you when these are together. I'll just put my gudgeon pin back. By the way, I've got another one. Oh, I have 2. So there's my original. This is just a bit of a test for the kids. This has been cut off. That's an original gudgeon pin, a big one. This is a smaller gudgeon pin. I'm not sure what that's from. And here's an even smaller gudgeon pin. That one could be from a Land Rover I had, a Freelander. But the point is, you keep these things, they're hardened, they're really handy. What I want to show you is, on the back of most of these older ones, that DC04 is slightly different. Underneath, you've got this, which just unclips, push that in and pull it down. And they're not always clear, by the way, but you'll see coins or anything like that, they get trapped in there. This is called a trap. Another one on the side above the filter, you just push these in, take that off, and you can see blockages in there as well. Just in case you didn't know. So I'm going to dry this out and come back to it. So, once you've got your boot on, remember, when you take the old motor out, line it up next to the new one. Make sure that is on the correct way. Just because of the way the cables move around inside. Otherwise you'll get it wrong. Next thing is, I see wrong, but you won't get far with this wrong because you just won't get it in. To make sure this is completely, you see, that's off. And now it's on. I've got a tool there somewhere that I can slide around the inside, but I don't know where it is. It's quicker for me to just do this. So, on. It's on, almost on completely. Now it's on completely. It's covered. If you've got a really cheap motor, it will have covered that cheap, nasty, bad manufacturing process. So I'm going to use a little bit of that. So you only need a little. Make sure you completely coat the inside with your fingers, because this is going to help you out a lot. Just chain lube, for a motorcycle. We shall brown to red, and there is a certain way up these go. Obviously make the connection and make sure they're fully home. Wrong way around. Correct way around. Now then, you've got this bigger lobe, must match up with that lobe in there. So the way we do this is, as they come out of the factory, they're over that. And you will see, if you get this exactly right, and it is a fiddle, like that, and I've got a way of holding everything in place with my fingers underneath. So, And it's all experience, you know. You can't expect to just get into this business and do everything properly. It's taken me years of messing around with different machines to get these right. And with these, it's a case of getting those two cables in place. You can push down on this if you're really careful. You don't want to break the back of the machine. Again, I do have a jig to do this properly. As you can see, it's in correctly. If you get that on the piss, if you like, your belt will just fall off. So that is now in properly. I'll put the rest of this back together and then we'll continue. But that's the bit you needed to know. That was the crucial bit.
Nick says that the vast majority of time, a vacuum cleaner does not need replacement, just a service. The Dyson doctor says that the vast majority of time, a vacuum cleaner does not need replacement, just a service.
My mic was off last time. The thing is, with this DJI mics that nicely fit into this GoPro, if you turn the camera off, I always leave my little mic on, but if you turn the camera off, after a little while the receiver will go off, which is really annoying. So as I said, you want to get this shroud on first, all nice and clean, all been washed, like this. It's all experience. You can easily get this wrong, like that. Make certain that looks like that. This doesn't go on the outside, it goes on the inside, as it does over here. Now the important part here is, you'll feel if you've got it wrong. You'll feel. Now that's gone together really nicely. Really nicely. Now all that's left to do is and this is a really important thing. All my tools are DeWalt. Okay, you can get away with other tools, but they must be clutched. They must be clutched. For this, it's about 5. If you overdrive them in there, you hear that? That wasn't what you'd hear people that don't have a clue doing. You can do that for as long as you like, because the clutch is kicking in to stop you over tightening that and threading everything. You know, you get used to what is where, but I'm always getting things in that have been threaded. Always. It's so annoying. It really is annoying. So there's just 2 to go in. That easy. Okay, so the motor's in. Great. It's a case of tightening everything up, as I said earlier, so we will test it. And there it is. Sounds perfect. So the point is, if you have one of these machines and you haven't smashed all of the plastic, for less than 100 quid, you can get a new motor installed in one of these and get the thing serviced at the same time. Because otherwise, you know, if you just put, imagine if you went somewhere. Hold on, there's the phone. Hello, Dyson Doctor. So, I'm open, so, you know, I just get constant calls. It's just the way it is. So the point is, this needs to go back together. At the end of it, I did find a broken finger, unfortunately. I did point out at the front at the start of the video. That's the last thing you want to see. It was hanging in there, but it was broken. So I'm in the process of fixing that. As I say, I use JB Weld. I've got on the inside there a plate. I'm going to shape that all nicely and hope that brush bar is going to fit in there nicely. But we'll see. We'll see. Everything's done. I've just got to put that back together. But if you've got DC01, DC02, DC03, DC04, DC07, DC14 or DC33. Make certain that you don't throw it away, because you cannot buy machines that good these days. I hope you found this instalment useful. There will be many more to come. Now it's autumn, I shall make a video quite often, because I enjoy it and I like to try and help people to save money and not break their machines. So thanks for watching. If you could leave a like, a comment and even subscribe underneath, that would be fantastic. Thank you. Make sure you don't miss any of my other exciting videos. Lots to come.